Who's actually going to do that investigative job? Presumably, you won't trust the UN to investigate itself.
Well, I'm not in a position to say. However, it is important for people to understand why we have done this. There have been very significant allegations made that people from the UN's Relief Works Agency participated or certainly had privy knowledge to the October 7th attacks. That's extremely serious. And I think it is quite right that we suspend payments to them. Whether the investigation is carried out by a separate arm of the UN or by other country governments, I wouldn't be in a position to state, but this is absolutely the right thing to do.
Well, whoever does that investigation, however long it takes, this is pretty grim news for 2.5 million Gazans, isn't it? How are they going to get food and water while this is going on?
So we are funding other organisations like the Red Cross, like UNICEF. So this isn't the UN. This is one particular agency within the UN that had been operating in Gaza. The UK has been ensuring that we are able to send aid to the people of Gaza, and that's something that we want to continue to do. But there is clearly a problem with the UN Relief Works Agency, and it's really important that we do something about that.
All right, well, that's all clear. Let's move on to something which, at the moment, is a little less clear. Did you or did you not sack the Post Office chair?
Yes, we had a conversation and we agreed that it was better that the Post Office had new leadership going forwards.
So just to be clear, that was a sacking, because the statement you've got says by mutual consent. I mean, you know, when you send your kids to bed and they go up, it's not by mutual consent, isn't it? It was a sacking.
It is. Well, with my kids, it is, because they know that if they don't go, then there will be trouble. But certainly, in the case of the Post Office chairman, it was very sad that we had come to this conclusion. And one of the things that I think is important is that when we do need to have a change of personnel, that we don't hound the people or go after them. The issues that the Post Office has go well beyond the Horizon scandal. So this wasn't just about Horizon and the ongoing inquiry into the Post Office. It's about the Post Office as an entity and especially the governance of it. There is a board. There have been disagreements across the board. And my view is that sometimes you just need a different person to deal with different issues. There is a lot more media scrutiny after that ITV drama. I think it is right that we are responsive to that. And so I had a conversation with Mr. Staunton, and we agreed that it would be right that he stepped down.
In a way, that makes it even more mysterious. I mean, if it's about a whole series of things, much a wider set of issues than the Horizon question, he's the second board member you sacked. The guy's only been there 1 year. I mean, what is going on?
So it isn't that this is about a series of issues. It's that the Post Office has a series of problems that it is currently dealing with. Governance is a critical part of that.
But why not give him some time to sort those out?
Well, because he's already had time to sort some of those things out, but you appoint people sometimes to take a certain type of decision. Given everything that has happened this year, I think we need someone new who can deal with these issues in a different way.
I think you're telling me that you picked the wrong guy.
I didn't appoint him. And at the time that he was appointed...
whoever did pick the wrong guy.
Trevor, let me finish. At the time that he was appointed, we did not have the intense scrutiny that we have now. We hadn't quite started some of the compensation schemes which are currently ongoing. But if there are difficulties with the board, he's not the only board member. If there are difficulties, then I need to intervene. The wrong thing to do would be to sit back with that bureaucratic indifference that we often see across systems and say, oh, well, he's only been there for a year. Let's hope things just get better. I see it as my job to intervene if I don't believe that the system is working. And that is exactly what I have done.
So it is possible that we will see more people shown the door?
I won't be making any further comments around personnel changes. I think that we need to do this in a civilized way. I don't like doing HR on TV. It is not fair on the individuals. I don't think we should be dragging people's reputations through the mud. Sometimes certain placements don't work out, and we've decided to part ways.
All right, well, look, just one other thing on the board. some of this is to do with the treatment of the sub-postmasters and the way that's been dealt with. Do you feel at all ashamed that it took a TV drama to provoke action from a board of directors, about a dozen people, big business hitters, which also included 3 permanent secretaries, including your own? Do you feel a bit embarrassed that it was TV that made this action happen?
It wasn't TV that made this action happen. In fact,
Well, why
I
didn't it
spoke
happen
about.
before
Let me
last
finish. It had been happening. If you listen to the conference speech which I gave, I talked about all the things we were doing at the post office. That was in September last year. Kevin Hollenrake, the Postal Affairs Minister, was taking through the compensation bill in December. What's interesting is that nobody was interested until they watched the ITV drama.
Yeah.
What the drama has done is really bring to life what happened to those postmasters, the horrific experiences that they had. The drama is not what has been prompting government action. I think it's really important that we stress that.
All right, just one quick last question on this. Do you expect to see Fujitsu, who were responsible for the system, paying compensation?
I certainly expect that will happen in due course. I have written a letter to the chairman of Fujitsu. I've asked for meetings. He is based in Japan, so it's not that straightforward. But it is absolutely right that Fujitsu takes part in making sure that all of the postmasters receive full and fair compensation. Previously, we've been waiting till the end of the inquiry, and it is important that we get to the end of that inquiry to know what should happen. But Fujitsu is a part of this. They're very much a part of the story. It's not just post office management, and I hope that they will do the right thing.
All right, let's talk about politics, if we may. It's no secret that many Conservative Party members would prefer you to lead them into the next election. In recent days, a couple of MPs have been rather explicit that the party should dump Mr Sunak and install you as leader. Did you put them up to it?
A lot of people who are going around doing this are creating problems and difficulties that the party, and more importantly, the country, does not need. I fully support the Prime Minister, and I have said many times that I stood to be leader and lost. And the last time we had a contest, after Liz Truss resigned, I said that the right person to lead the country was Rishi Sunak, and I still believe that to be the case.
So what's your message to those people who are going around spreading this stuff?
It's the same message I gave several months ago when I was interviewed by The Spectator, that they need to stop messing around. They need to stop messing around and get behind the leader. The fact of the matter is, most people in the country are not interested in all of this Westminster tittle-tattle. And quite frankly, the people who keep putting my name in there are not my friends. They don't care about me. They don't care about my family or what this would entail. They're just stirring. And we have 350 MPs. This is a small number of people who are doing this. The vast majority of Conservative MPs support the Prime Minister, as we saw in the response to the article that Simon Clarke put out last week, and I think that should be the end of the matter.
Yeah, let me put this to you. I mean, you are one of the leaders of the Conservative Party, and this isn't necessarily about personalities. It's about the survival of your government. If we look at the polling amongst Conservative Party members and activists, you're top of the pops. You have a favourability rating of plus 64%. Mr Sunak is minus 25%. Let's leave aside your own personal feelings about this and loyalty and all that. Surely, as some people are saying, you are the salvation of the Conservative Party, and you should be ready to step forward rather than be a shrinking violet.
This is not a popularity contest. I'm sure that the website asking for who
that's
people...
what politics
yes,
is.
No, but I'm still answering the question, Trevor. This is not a popularity contest. This is about running the country. We have so many issues to deal with: controlling inflation, growing the economy, continuing with the plan that Rishi Sunak has put in place. And quite frankly, we can't just keep treating prime ministers as if they're disposable. Oh, the polls aren't doing so well, so let's toss someone out and find another person. That's quite wrong. The prime ministers are human beings. They deal with a lot, and people like me in the cabinet, members of parliament, and quite frankly, all politicians and the country want to see him survive and do well. We want to see him succeed. We should not be trying to drag out prime ministers on the basis of popularity contests and polling on websites. It's completely wrong, and it is not serious.
All right, let's talk about your actual serious job, which is as Secretary of State for Trade. This week you suspended talks with, well, Canada, mild-mannered, cooperative member of the Commonwealth. What could they possibly have done to offend you that you broke off talks?
Well, it's not about personal offence. It's about getting a deal that is right for the British people. And there are two separate things that are going on. One is about the existing FTA, which we do have with Canada, and what has been paused is the discussions on the new upgraded talks. I did not think that the offer which they were putting forward was going to be right for agriculture in the UK, and we still have a second free trade agreement with Canada under the CPTPP. And what I want to make sure is that as we go forward, people can see the benefits of the trade deals we're signing. So this is not so much a dispute. It is a pause in talks until we can find a way to resolve a specific issue.
You know, we were promised the best part of 8 years ago that Brexit would allow us to become a global power, particularly a global trading power. We've signed, I think, 70 deals now, but they're pretty much all what they call rollover deals, essentially what we had before when we were in the EU. But there are very few new deals, and some of the ones that we have signed are with small partners like New Zealand, responsible for, I think, 0.2% of our trade. We're not doing very well in signing all the new trade deals, are we?
We are doing very well, and that is not quite the story of what is going on. Yes, we immediately signed about 73 trade deals on leaving. People said that we wouldn't get any of those done and that we were going to go backwards, so we succeeded in that.
But they were all the same as they were
Trevor,
before.
I need to finish the answer. Yes, some of those would have been the same before, but even then people said that we couldn't do them. But there are some new ones, like the Comprehensive and Progressive Trans-Pacific Partnership. CPTPP is huge. The Indo-Pacific is where global growth is going to be coming from. European growth is shrinking, and we are strengthening our links with those countries on the other side of the world. And our economy is 70 to 80% services. We are not a goods-based economy, and that means that the deals which we sign need to reflect the nature of the UK economy. We have overtaken France in manufacturing. Our economy is growing faster than Germany and France and other EU countries. So it is important for people to know what the facts are, rather than focus on a particular day in a particular trade negotiation.
All right. The biggest deal that we would want is with the United States. Mr. Biden says there won't be a trade deal anytime soon. Mr. Trump, when he was in office, of course, talked about a deal 4 or 5 times bigger than what we had at the time. Are you looking forward to a Trump victory?
It is a shame that the US currently is not signing any free trade agreements with any country. We had gone quite a long way in terms of negotiating a US-UK free trade agreement, as I was made to understand. So we hope that whoever it is who wins the US election, I have no idea who that will be somebody who will look again at the work that had been done, and hopefully we pick up where we left off.
Oh, well, that sounds like you think Mr. Trump might be quite a good opportunity for us.
That's not what I said at all. That's not what I said at all. I actually think it is
the logic of what you're saying.
I actually think it is very dangerous to speculate on which particular president or prime minister of another country you would like to see. You look at what's been happening in the Red Sea. You look at the Houthi attacks. We cooperate very closely with the US, and the relationship is between the two countries and the peoples of both countries, not any individual who might be leading at a specific time.
Can I just ask you a bit about you? I mean, you're obviously, whether or not you're headed to be leader, you're obviously now a big figure in the Conservative Party. I think it's fair to say that you do divide opinion. Let me just play something with which you'll be familiar. You spoke recently to a select committee.
And you've also made these statements using inflammatory language that likens children and young people coming out as trans to the spread of a disease.
I've never said that. That is a lie.
Well,
that is a lie, and I think you should withdraw that statement. That is a lie.
You've just called me a liar.
Can I just remind the Minister that is unparliamentary
right.
language?
What she has said is not true.
Some people would say that was unnecessarily aggressive. Was it necessary?
It's important that people speak the truth, And if you look at many of the times when I have had significant disagreements, either with other politicians or perhaps journalists, it is always about accuracy and truth. I think it's important. It's important to the country. It's important to your viewers that people know the truth about what's going on. And if you watch that clip again, you can see that Labour MP was reading something that somebody had sent to her. She didn't know what she was talking about. She was making a terrible accusation, and I wasn't going to let my name be maligned. I made sure that people knew that what she said was untrue.
All right, well, look,
and I
one
make
last
no
thing.
apology for that.
OK, one last thing. Sir Keir Starmer made a speech last week in which he talked about people stoking culture wars on diversity and inclusion policies. Now, you're Minister for Equalities, and I suspect he was probably talking about you, and he accused Tories of a weird McCarthyism. Are you a weird McCarthyite?
I think it is a ridiculous assertion. The only people who are stoking culture wars are the people who are trying to change things, the people who are trying to change what's written in our history books, the people who are trying to change what's in our museums. And when someone comes along and says, actually, we think this is fine, we're the ones who are accused of being culture warriors. I don't let myself get distracted by those silly accusations. When people make them, you know that they don't have an argument, and so they want to resort to personal attacks. We believe in this country. We think we have a great story to tell. We think we have a great history. Doesn't mean that everything is perfect, but what we're not going to do is stand back and allow people like Labour, like the Labour Party or Keir Starmer, to smear our country or our history or even individuals as McCarthyites when what we're doing is standing up for the truth.